Well, here we have a 1948 Mamod SE1, SE2, let's say. This is a strange one, as it's got an SE2 engine frame with a regulator, but it's got an SE1 boiler, and whether it's made up from parts or there were shortages of materials at the time, I don't know. This one I've never run since I restored it 7 or 8 years ago. So the only pieces that were painted on it were the firebox and the boiler band, which is smelling a little bit, but the paint seems to be holding up reasonably well. There is a bit of a leak coming from the union nut, but it seems to be running better, certainly than the last SE2 of this vintage, which I ran. So overall, I'd say these were lovely little engines, hot brass stamped engine frames, along with a flywheel, brass cranks, barrel cylinders, and really well made steam fittings, such as the safety valve, which is the old I think 3/8 inch type, and instead of an actual lever on the overflow plug, they just have a hexagonal bolt. This one seems to be running fairly well, really, considering it's losing a little bit of water and steam from around there. I've given it a good oiling. You've got a nice engine oiling hole for the plain bearing on the crankshaft, which is a great plus. I've adjusted the trunnion bolt on this one so it's a little bit looser, and got the regulator wide open to give it a chance to sort of actually run. Really, they were diminutive little engines, not a great deal of turning power, but you could run several tools off it with a line shaft. But they've got a very small cylinder and a very short stroke, but nonetheless, great deal of fun. Build quality is out of this world, obviously, as you would expect even from a post-war engine, and you know, essentially it's a very desirable little engine to have. I think when I bought this one I paid about £115 for it, even then. Base plate paint is still original. There's the last vestiges of a blue Mamod oval decal on there. Not quite as good as the other one that I've got, but nonetheless that won't be repainted because it's original. The inside of the chimney was repainted in the bright red, which was customary for the stationary engines, and I really am quite pleased that this is going so well. The safety valve is an adjustable type, so I've turned the collar on that one up to as tight as it will go. It could probably do with a small O-ring around the plunger at the top, but you know, it's holding enough. Certainly there's plenty of pressure in there to actually turn the engine over. I'll see if I can get the thing to run a little bit slower. That's running quite slowly. Obviously the frame rate on the camera will produce a strange sort of effect when it's finally uploaded to Photo Bucket. But I've done a little bit of work around soldering of the pipes and that seems to be holding up, which is a miracle. The only other thing which was painted on this particular engine was the lamp, which is the standard 3-wick type of the period. Put new wicks in and just tidied up a little bit using Ford Highland Green to replicate that colour. The engine frame obviously wasn't retouched at all. The leak around the union bolt now seems to have stopped. There's still some water coming from the safety valve, as you would expect anyway, but the boiler seems to be fine. There's no nasty leaks or anything coming from the end caps. Obviously this is not a drawn boiler, it's got 2 end caps on it, so it's simply just a simple piece of brass tubing. And as you can see, overall it's a lovely little thing. Even Plato the cat's decided to come in. Plato, you are a menace. Yes. And it's had a good lubrication. It probably needed a little bit more in a moment, because these tend to spew all the oil straight out again after you've actually run them. very, very pleased with the operation of this one. So I'll shut up now and let this one get on and do its thing. Not bad going, considering that it's getting on for 60 years old now, because these were only made between 48 and 1949, so they made 47, 48, so made for about a year, because in 49 they brought in the pressed engine steel, or the pressed steel engine frames, which were a lot cheaper to produce. The brass engine frame was quite expensive to produce at the time, and obviously post-war Britain materials were expensive and scarce. The 1949 long engine frame engines didn't maintain or retain the brass flywheel to 1953, when for 1 year only they did make them then with a flat base, long engine frame and a Mamod flywheel until 54, when the raised bases actually came in.